Thanks for joining us this evening. We're going to get started in just a minute. We have a couple of people signing in. We expect a nice intimate group this evening. We have a great program planned for all of you. So we're excited that you're here to join us. I know most of you, all of you right now are off camera and muted. That is totally fine and acceptable, but you are obviously welcome to be on camera with us and unmute yourself, especially if you want to ask a question live later. If you're shy and you want to stay in the background, that's okay too. We understand. Or if maybe you're eating an early dinner or something like that, but that's totally fine. But if you want to stay off camera, you're welcome to interact with us via the chat tool, and we can answer your questions later on in the program. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and just officially get started. So my name is Joe Fantozzi. I'm the Director of Recruitment and First Year Scholarships here at Hunter College. Thrilled to have you all here this evening. We have a unique program where usually we're talking about admissions and how to get into Hunter, and while we're certainly happy to answer some of those questions, this is a great opportunity for you to meet some of our staff and faculty here. It's one of the advantages of Zoom, which enables us to gather in this way for 30 to 40 minutes to have a really detailed conversation about a topic that you're interested in. We have amazing experts in the room, scholars in their field, and you're really going to enjoy some of the conversation that you have today and hear about some of the wonderful things that are happening on the Hunter campus surrounding Jewish life. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first speaker. So Dr. Leah Garrett, who's the Director of Hebrew and Jewish Studies and also the Jewish Studies Center here at Hunter, is going to kick us off.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Look, I've taught at a lot of different places, and I've been involved in a lot of different colleges. And honestly, Hunter is the best place in the world to be a Jewish student. We have tons of Jewish faculty, huge amounts of Jewish students. You're in New York City, best food, Jewish food in the world, best neighborhoods in the world. And we have incredibly dynamic Jewish studies programs, a really wonderful Hillel program we're going to hear about in a second. So I'll come back in a second. I'm going to hand it over to our phenomenal Hebrew teacher, Jaron Friedman. He's going to talk just for a few minutes, about 5 minutes, about our Hebrew program. We'll come back to me. I will talk about Jewish studies and other things you can do that we do for our Jewish students. And then I'll hand it over to Rabbi Jonah, who's going to talk about Hillel. And then we're going to hear hopefully from one of our students as well. So, and then after that, we're here to answer questions, whatever questions you have. So handing it over now to Daron.
All right, guys, I'm Daron Friedman. I'm the Hebrew studies or Hebrew language guy. As you can tell by my accent, my French accent, of course. You're supposed to be smiling at that time. Thank you, Erica, for being with us, at least on camera. Yes, you're the only one I'm going to focus at. And you're supposed to be reacting the way I'm expecting you, okay? So we have, each one we have our roles. Thank you. There we go. Okay, guys, you're high schoolers, and I'm now, I'm aiming what I'm saying to people who are coming to us on the first time. The first time we see you guys is when you guys are required by Hunter to have a foreign language proficiency. One of them could be Hebrew, and naturally, for many of you who have some exposure to Hebrew before, you would probably know the alphabet at least because you attended some kind of a Sunday school, maybe a day school, you probably know a little more. But in general, you guys may have a lot of Hebrew background or some Hebrew background. And our job is basically to assess what you have and basically place you in the right level that you have. You may know enough to be tested out for language exemption, meaning you may just skip 4 semesters of required language studies if you talk to me and show me that you have enough Hebrew to just join the next level if you want, or just be exempt of foreign language at Hunter in general. So Hebrew can give it to you. Now, if you don't have enough for exemption, you can basically be placed in another class, not just the regular 101. 101 is the entry class for people who don't know anything, blank slaters. Someone that was just randomly pulled out of Starbucks and was told study Hebrew. Doesn't know Hebrew goes from right to left. That's 101. But if you know more than that, you want to talk with me. and I will be the one to assess you and to place you in the right class. We have also accelerated path for exemption. I can tell you that you don't need to learn any foreign language at Hunter if you don't want to. And if you so choose, you can take a higher level of Hebrew as elective. Now, the important thing is that you get to me. The hardest part for me is to find you guys before the first semester starts and to place you in the right level. That's my challenge. The way that I usually do it is I see who is signing up for 101, because if you don't know better, you'd sign up for 101. And then I'll email all of you through the email the Hunter provides to me. That's the one you signed up with. And I'll ask you to call me back. And that's when we have the first connection. Now, it's super important, guys, that if you are signing up, you want to have access to the email address that Hunter provided you. If you didn't put in your Gmail or something private, that you have your own email, usually Hunter provides you with an automatic Hunter email. And if you don't get access to it, you don't read it, you're missing the whole correspondence from everyone at Hunter in general, not only me in Hebrew. So the first thing that you want to do is have access to the Hunter email. And that's when you get to me. Now, this video, this meeting, can get you around it. Just Google my name, write it down. It's under me right now. Just write the word Doron Friedman and Hunter College on Google, and you'll find me. Shoot me an email. Say, hey, I want to be assessed for Hebrew languages. I'm a freshman. And that's it. I'll take it from there.
Thank you, Doron. And Doron's fabulous. And not only does he do all these different classes, but we're building a summer travel program to Israel as well. So there's all sorts of dynamic stuff that we offer you. I'm going to tell you briefly about our Jewish studies classes. I'm going to share my screen because I want you to see how dynamic is the stuff that we offer here. So this is just our spring courses, and we're an interdisciplinary center, which means we run all of our courses through different programs as well. So you'll be mixing in classes with Jewish studies, Hebrew, history, sociology, etc. But I just want to highlight a few of the really fun things we do. Every spring we offer this course, Mapping Jewish New York, and it is phenomenal. And this is why it's so great to do Jewish stuff in New York City, because everything's there. So Mapping Jewish New York is a class taught where the whole class is taking walking tours of New York City, visiting all the neighborhoods and sites, ending with the last class at Katz's Deli, and you learn the history of New York through walking tours. It's totally experiential. And besides that, what you can see, we offer Holocaust classes, sociology of American Jews. We have a strong Israeli cultural program with cinema and culture as well. And then we have the more traditional classes like Introduction to Jewish Texts and Writings and Images of the Old Testament. Something I oversee every semester as well, which is really popular, particularly with younger students, is Jewish Studies Fieldwork, which is just an internship program where you get credit to do internships in Jewish organizations and schools, and you meet with me and you sort of learn on the ground about Jewish studies through these different programs. And just one other thing I want to mention is we also run a whole series of different prizes and fellowship programs, as well as a new program that we're running this year with Rav Jonah, which is a fellowship program to go to Washington, D.C., all expense paid, to learn about anti-Semitism. And the last thing I'm going to mention briefly is that we run tons of community programs as well. And something that all of our teachers do in the program is, for extra credit in the classes, you're given the opportunity to attend lectures by world famous scholars in the field of Jewish studies. We've been doing them on Zoom recently, but it used to be that we did them in person and we did free lunches, and we're hoping to get back there as well. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. So just to reiterate again, Hunter is just such a fabulous place to be generally, but if you like the New York City experience and you like sort of the Jewish New York experience, there is nowhere better to be than here. But we'll come back to me in a little bit. I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful senior Jewish educator at Hillel, Jonah, who's going to talk to you about this phenomenal Hillel program that we offer too.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Rev Jonah. I'm senior Jewish educator, campus rabbi at Hunter Hillel. You'll get all the info in the chat to look us up, check out the website. You can contact me if any of you have any questions about anything that you don't bring up today, but feel free to ask everything. And I think the most important thing to say is how jealous I am of all of you, because if you come to Hunter, then you get to learn Hebrew with Doron, which is, I mean, I don't know, if you can be laughing for 50 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week, if you can stand it, then you'll do that. And you'll also come out of it fluent in Hebrew because he's extraordinary. And I was a Jewish studies major when I was in college. We didn't have quite the same caliber of classes that Professor Garrett has put together. I'm really just constantly impressed. And we're feeling like we're all really blessed. I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Manhattan. Don't hold it against me. My sister went to Hunter College. My father went to the Queens College. I have a lot of sort of deep love and appreciation and relationships with CUNY. And I think that the students at Hunter College are spectacular. And that's why I'm here doing this work. We have a full-time staff of 4 at Hunter Hillel now, and we have a part-time Israel fellow. So there are always people around in the Hillel Lounge who are just waiting to meet you, to talk to you, to learn with you, to take you for coffee. And as the greater Hunter community is quickly learning, we are a location where there are always snacks. We know that it's not cheap to have kosher food around Hunter College. And sometimes you need something in addition to the lunch that you brought from home. And we want to provide that for you. In addition to that, we know that Hunter College, while academically incredible, can be a hard place to meet other students just because of the layout of the school. And like, it just takes a little bit longer than it would if you were going to a big land grant college and living in a dorm where you can't do anything but meet other people. And Hunter takes some effort. What we try and do at Hunter Hillel is create space for that to have less effort, right? So you can come to the Hillel Lounge, you can hang out with us, you'll meet other students, listen to music, eat some snacks, or you can come to some of our educational programs. We run a program called the Jewish Learning Fellowship, JLF. It's usually about 10 weeks, once a week for an hour and a half. There's usually 15 to 20 students in it, so you get to meet people. We talk about the issues and the questions that are arising exactly at the stage of life that all of you are in, and we use Jewish wisdom and Jewish text to illustrate those things and to help us like ask the questions and help us maybe start to think deeply about them, who we want to be in our lives and how we want to grow. JLF is amazing. It was really good when it was on Zoom, but it's even better when we're in person. It comes with a meal. This year we've been doing bagels because they're easily individually wrapped, but in the past it was a little bit more substantial. And at the end of your first JLF, you're eligible for a stipend of $300 because we know that your time is valuable, that when you're not studying and doing all of your important academic work, you probably need to have a job. If you're going to take another hour and a half out of your time to come and learn Torah with us, we want to make sure that doesn't hurt you in any other part of your life. We facilitate trips to Israel. Super excited about this program that you two are hatching, Doron and Leah, to have even more opportunities for students to go to Israel. If you want to go on Birthright, we facilitate that. We send groups of students to the Shalom Hartman Institute in the winters to study. We have had students go on all sorts of GAP programs. There's a program called Onward where they match you with an internship in your chosen field of study, and you find a place to live, and you live in Tel Aviv and you have your internship. There's a program called Nachshon where students go for a semester abroad and study at Hebrew U and are part of a cohort, and it takes care of most of the expenses. If going to Israel is something that's interesting to you, we want to help make that happen. And we know that if going to Israel is something interesting to you and you're in college, there's another part of that, which is, and not have it cost very much money, if anything at all. So we try and find all those programs that are just around to bring you there. And we also know that you're in college to like build your life and further your career. So we run a bunch of programs that are supposed to and do help with career readiness. We have a program called the Virtual Internship. where you get guidance in resume writing and interviewing, and you get to network with people. It's really extraordinary. They just founded another program called the Futures Fellowship, which is similar but comes with a very large stipend. My last thing that I want to plug, because it's like the most amazing thing that we've been able to do in the last little while, is my new colleague, Yael, who is a social worker. So we have a full-time social worker on staff, because sometimes what you need to talk about isn't Torah and isn't your academic schedule. But sometimes what you need to talk about are more personal and more serious. And we wanted to make sure that everyone had someone to talk to. And so Yael is extraordinary, has joined our staff this year. And you can come and you can meet Mirav, our executive director, who just really only wants to hang out with you all and does the executive director stuff as an excuse to spend time with students. And our Springboard fellow, Mitchell, who everybody likes more than they like most other people in the universe. So we'd love to have you. If you ever want to come visit while you're looking at campus, please stop by Thomas Hunter 401. And I'll stay on to answer any questions that anybody might have at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jonah. And finally, we're going to have one of our wonderful students speak, Jenny. She is president of the student president of Hillel. She's my assistant in Jewish studies. She's taken tons of our classes. So she's going to speak for a few minutes, and then we're going to open it up for questions for her or for any of us who you want to talk to.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Jenny. I'm from Westchester, New York. I've grown up basically going to public school, but I was always really interested in Judaism, and I found that Hunter College had a lot of good opportunities for that, whether it be the Jewish Studies department or the Hillel. Some things that come to mind for me in the Jewish Studies department, there's tons of classes that have different lenses on Judaism. So it's really exciting. Like this semester, I'm taking a Jewish New York class, which talks specifically about Jews in New York. And then I'm also taking a gender and Judaism class. So if you want to think critically about Judaism, like the department definitely has classes for that. The major is also super flexible. You can take classes that you want that interest you, which is really awesome. I've also taken a bunch of classes with Doron, Hebrew classes, and those were really fun for me and helped me grow a lot with my Hebrew. And then whether you're interested in Judaism academically or not, I mean, Hillel is a great place to just kind of be involved in the way you want with Judaism. There's tons of fun activities, but also more serious tech studies. And I've gone to Israel twice through the Hillel, so I'm really grateful for those opportunities. So there's definitely a bunch to do with Judaism at Hunter. And yeah, I mean, I'd say both the Hillel and the Jewish Studies took me out of my bubble of Judaism. Like I grew up in a Reform Ashkenazi community, and I think coming to Hunter, I learned about Jews from all over the world, the different languages that Jewish people speak, different cultural practices. So I think if you come here, you'll definitely learn a lot.
Thank you, Jenny. So we have time. If anyone has questions, you can yell out, you can do the waved hand, you can write it down however you want. Does anyone have any questions for us? And if not, that's fine too, because at least you got to meet us, and you can always email us or call us. Doron's very good with phone calls. I'm better with email, but you can find us all on the web if you have any other questions or follow up, or Jonah through the email as well.
Yeah, we actually have some questions that came in through the direct messages in the chat. So if it's okay, I'll jump in those.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
First question I think came in for Jenny. Students are asking, is it possible to handle something like Jewish studies, or sort of what you did, took a few classes and do another major at the same time?
Yeah, it definitely is. There's definitely enough time to take more than one major. I think it's just important to go in kind of knowing that you need to be organized with your time. So if you know like what your other major is, you can talk to an advisor, or even there's resources online to like plan out exactly what classes you need to take when. But short answer is, yeah, it's definitely doable.
And also to add to that, for the Jewish studies major, intentionally, I made it, as Jenny mentioned, sort of as open and easy as possible. For the major, you're only required to take 2 courses. One is a sort of introduction to Jewish texts, and one is introduction to Jewish history, which you can also, if you have the background, you don't have to take it. We can, it's not completely required. And then you just take a number of classes in whatever you are interested in Jewish studies, in whichever department you're interested in. So it's an incredibly open major, with the idea being that for most of our students who do Jewish studies, it's a dual major rather than a sole major.
And maybe to also add that a minor is also a possibility.
Yes,
So
that's
you
right.
can go for a minor if you are not, not so confident in the beginning, and you are still asking yourself, can I do that? Until you kind of get your head around it, wrap your head around it. You can start with a minor, and suddenly it happens to so many students. Suddenly we see that from all the other things that they've been taking without even noticing, they have a minor or a minor and a half a major under their belt already. They just need to do this and that, and they are qualified. So it's really easy to get to it, even if you don't think about it in the beginning.
That's actually a great point. I totally agree with Doron. The majority of our students come to my office and say, hey, like they've taken all these amazing Jewish studies classes and all of these departments, they say, hey, can I be a major? And I look at them like, you've already fulfilled the major, basically. So
yeah, you just need to take your language classes with me. It's half a minor or more. It's a full minor if you take a few elective classes, like, and you get half a minor or full minor. And then a few ones that you'll take in addition to it, because now you are aware of it, but you take another Hebrew class or 2, and you have the major. And you, without even noticing, you took already something in Judaism, something in Jewish studies, and it's there suddenly.
Thank
Irina, you're muted. So.
I was going to say, thank you for that. Questions keep coming, and this happens all the time. Our current students are generally more popular. So for the faculty members and staff, I'm so sorry. Jenny, the next question is for you. 2 students are asking, what is the student community like?
Yeah, I think Jonah might have mentioned this. The thing about Hunter is there's great people there, but sometimes it's difficult to find them because it is a commuter school. But I think getting involved in clubs is like a really great way to meet people. Like with the Hillel, I'm also part of the theater department, which is a great way to like it forces you to spend time with people outside of class. But you kind of have to find that for yourself. Yeah.
Awesome.
And sorry to keep jumping in. And just what Jonah said about Hillel, it's so true. They have this lovely space in the middle of campus. The door is always open. There's always food there. Every time I go, there are just tons of students there. So it's like the type of thing, if you worry you're going to be at Hunter, be lonely, you won't be, because you can always go to Hillel and there'll be other kids there. There's always a safe place to meet other kids who are like you in Hillel, and as Jonah said, with always nice food too.
My office, great coffee as well. Free cakes.
I know for the high schoolers, this may not seem like a big thing. For those of you who are in high school and college, free food is like the end all be all. You got to do it. If it's there, you got to go. Simple as that.
Sorry to keep jumping in. Hunter also does incredible amounts of free food for our students, that we do like free food banks. Like there's always, because we know a lot of our students struggle, and it's an incredibly caring and loving environment. And there's always food, there's always bags of food there. There's a food bank in the basement of our school. And there's so much grace at our school for these issues.
So Jewish here. Look at us talking about food already.
And I'll just throw out there that also once a month you can register for a free food box from Hunter Hillel and the Met Council also. And that there's a pantry at the Brookdale dorms as well. So it really, Hunter community really tries very hard to take care of its own. And I think does a good job.
Jonah, I think this next question is for you, because you mentioned that a lot of students live in housing on campus, and there's a community within there. There are events that happen. Students are asking, what is it like sort of in the community in the residence halls?
In the dorms? So it's, COVID has made like all of that, the ways that we can facilitate Jewish life in the dorms harder. but we still try very hard. So most students who dorm live in the Brookdale dorms, which is on 25th Street, close to the East River, basically. And when protocols allow it, and when they used to allow it, we would host Shabbat dinner at least once a month. I know that Jenny led an amazing vegan Shabbat dinner a couple of years back that just like blew everybody away. Mostly because like it was actually like, you know, really well done food and not Eden Wok or whatever like we usually pull up for people, which we know is delicious, but still. The neighborhood around the dorm has a few really wonderful synagogues, and there's a student life there that's different than up by Hunter, because down there students from NYU and the New School and all sorts of other schools also kind of live in the East Village. So Jewish student life downtown is not campus centric, but it can be very vibrant as long as you're willing to step out of your dorm, or you wait once a month and we'll come by. Over Hanukkah, we came down and we lit candles in the courtyard. Over Sukkot, the Hillel and the Chabad rabbi together build a couple of Sukkot, one on campus and one down at Brookdale, so that, you know, there's somewhere to go. We also have a pop-up sukkah. So this year we popped that up in Central Park a bunch of times. Last year we drove it out to students' neighborhoods and came to your house if you wanted and popped up a sukkah for you. And a lot of people choose to go home for Shabbat. You know, so even if you live in the dorm, even if you're living in the neighborhood, I've just noticed that independence sort of, you know, reaches this point on Shabbat when a lot of students say, you know what, I just want to go home, let my parents cook for me, go to my shul, see my siblings. And that's cool, and we understand that. And that's why we put so much of our effort into facilitating Jewish life during the week, because we want you to have a robust Jewish life while you're on campus. And we know that most of our students are coming from some kind of you know, family-based Jewish practice that they go back to. So it's really, really what you make of it. And I think that's kind of what Jenny was getting at also, which is, you know, your time at Hunter, it's school in New York City. You got to like push it. You got to look out for yourself a little bit. You have to make what you want it to be. And we're all there to support you in that as much as we possibly can.
I think you just mentioned literally the motto of Hunter College is Mihi Kura Futuri. The care of the future is mine, right? So that's sort of that's the type of the student that Hunter really thrives with. That's the student that thrives at Hunter as well. So I think that was perfect, actually. Leah, a question for you, since you're on the faculty side. Students are asking, what if they're not sure about if they want to study anything at all in particular at the moment? What would you recommend for a student who comes to you like that?
In Jewish studies or just generally?
In generally, they're saying they're not sure, like if they take 1 or 2 classes and then figure it out, is that a thing? What would you recommend if they're not sure if they want to study Jewish studies, or if they're not sure what they want to study at all?
So Hunter has in place a really vibrant sort of setup in which we all counsel our students. So the thing I would do, and my daughters are college age, and I tell them this where they're at college, which is you email the instructor or the head of the department before you even get there, and you say to them what you just said to me, what should I take? And I would say to you, I would say, you should take that walking tour class. You'll meet all these kids, you'll be on the street. Or then they'll say, well, I like something more traditional. And I'll say women in the Bible. So the best way to do this is to reach out once you know you're coming to Hunter, to the heads of the department, as well as you're going to be given an advisor. There's going to be a professor who is your advisor, if it's through Jewish studies or whatever it is. And if you're not declared, and if you're thinking about stuff, just contact us. And we always know what are the great classes and what are the fun classes. Like I always know, send kids to Daron's classes because they're going to have the time of their lives. Like we know who those people are. And so you just have to sort of reach out to us, but you'll all be assigned advisors who are going to help you figure this out as well. And the advising, I think at Hunter, I think I'm correct about this, begins really early. Like as soon as you're accepted, you get on the train of advisors who are going to help you figure out what you potentially might major in or what to take the freshman year too. So you're taken very good care of as soon as you make the decision to come to Hunter.
Absolutely. Another question just came in, and this is
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Doran. Yeah.
Many times, guys, you come to me not because you want to do anything with Hebrew or with Jewish studies, etc. You come to me because you need a language requirement, and naturally, by your background, you will have some kind of Jewish or Hebrew background, you have some knowledge, you would prefer to fulfill your language requirement, which is a Hunter requirement. You must graduate Hunter knowing some kind of a language. So you may want to take Chinese or Japanese or Russian if you want to know something new. But if you want to somehow, use the background that you have in Hebrew, you'll come to get the language requirement waiver in Hebrew. Once you talk to me, I can also direct you. If you take one of my classes, you'll know.
I just wanted to add on something too, if it's okay, that I would recommend as a freshman too there's gen eds, like there's a bunch of classes that you have to take. So if you take those as a freshman, you get to try out a bunch of different departmental classes, and that can actually help you kind of figure out what you want. So I would recommend taking those when your freshman year, if you're not really sure what you want to do.
Great advice, Jenny. One of the questions that just came in is actually a general one, so I think it's useful to kind of say to the group. Someone was asking about, is the campus open and what the deal is with all of that? And I think we've alluded to it a little bit, but officially, yes, we are open and open for tours in particular, which is probably what you're asking about. So we do recommend, we're offering multiple tours and they're run by students. So you get to meet current students here at Hunter. You can register on our website. So we encourage you to do that. Yes, we're still doing obviously virtual programming like we're doing here, but we are open more and more in person. So we encourage you to come check out the campus. If you are a senior, I think some of you are, and you're applying to Hunter, and you're admitted to Hunter, which we will start sending decisions in the very near future. We will also have some in-person programming for you prepared in the early spring, knock on wood, fingers crossed, all sorts of things that we're able to offer that for you. So yes, if you're interested in experiencing an in-person tour, please do so. We do keep you safe, vaccination is required, or a negative COVID test. And then also we keep the groups pretty small as we walk around campus with masks on. So you can feel safe to come to campus.
Can I add one thing to that?
Of course.
We have an amazing President Jennifer Raab, who is Jewish. So she, I don't know if I should say that, but I certainly feel that presence at Hunter. And she's really committed to in-class learning and to have in-class options. So as of spring, as far as I know, Hunter is the CUNY with the most, we're gonna have the most in classes, 70% in class, which is way more than other CUNYs. So it's an absolutely serious commitment by our president and by our faculty to get you guys back into classes.
Yep, absolutely. So for those of you that are seniors and will be on campus as early as next year, you could expect that from us and that level of commitment. And I think everyone's very, very excited about that. Hannah, you have a question.
Yes, so I was wondering about all the classes that you offered about Jewish studies. Are they also offered for Macaulay students? Is it the same classes?
Oh, that's a really good, yes, Macaulay students can take our classes. They're not the same classes, but we get Macaulay students all the time. And if you're in the Macaulay program, as far as I know, I don't know, Jenny, I don't know if you were in the Macaulay, but I think you have some electives. So we always get Macaulay students in our classes, but they're not offered specifically through Macaulay because you're gonna have your own sort of set of classes through Macaulay, which is a fantastic program if you're accepted to it.
Yeah, I had a lot of Macaulay students.
Yep, they end up in all the classes.
Yeah.
Come to Hillel too.
Yeah, Hannah, the major difference there is going to be in the Macaulay seminar classes, which happen immediately from your freshman year. So those will be in addition to, it's not like you're restricted on other things, you'll just have an additional requirement. So.
But those of you who are in the Thomas Hunter Honors Program, I'm teaching Jewish Studies classes specifically into that program too. And I think hopefully we'll spread out at some point and do that specifically for Macaulay too.
Great.
And if you come to me and you want to ask about your own major, could be psychology, could be biology, could be about Macaulay. I know all my students and I can kind of direct you informally to different students in those programs. I could direct you to last year's valedictorian student who was a Macaulay student, Adina, she was my student. So it's informal, but once you get to us, we'll get you there.
A couple of things were just posted into the chat that I want to draw your attention to. One in particular, there's a way for you all to connect with current Hunter students. We have a chat tool, live chat tool. It basically functions like a text message, although your information is kept private. And you're able to communicate with over 200 different students who are students here at Hunter. So that link is in the chat, and they also blog a lot, these students. So you could, if you don't want to interact with them, you could kind of passively learn a little bit about life at Hunter in that manner as well. So I encourage you certainly to do that. Okay, any last minute questions? I think we got to all of your questions, which is great. You guys asked fantastic ones. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I want to extend a huge thank you to all of our faculty, staff, and Jenny, our current student, for joining us this evening. You guys shared amazing information with all of our prospective students, and the community is obviously thriving here at Hunter. So we're really excited about that. For all the prospective students in the room, we would look forward to receiving your admissions application in the future. I'm going to put my email into the chat as well. Just did that right now. You're welcome to be in touch with us directly. Also on the admissions website, you'll find a host of other resources. Do stay in touch with us throughout the admissions process, whether you're a junior or senior or younger, perhaps. We encourage you to do that, and we're here to support you through the enrollment, and we hope to see you on campus one day. So have a great evening, everyone, and please do stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.